You guys just hear that? Can anybody hear me out there or see me? I don't know if this is working. Can you comment if you can see me or hear me, and like give me a question or a positive comment, or tell me your life story and inspire me, or tell me how old you are and what city you're in. But did you hear that? In this area, you know, it's always active logging, so we hear explosions a lot of the time, and they explode rock for building roads, they explode trees for getting up roots and taking down large areas. There's usually 1 or 2 explosions a day. Thanks Fluway. Hey, I want to give you guys a sneak peek at what I'm doing right now, because it's nap time for the kids and I'm gonna spend 30 minutes with you. Hi, Megan. Hey, Papa Meatball. Let me show you guys what I'm working on. I'm, of course, filming all this in like 4K, 8K, but with these live videos, they're raw, unedited. Mistakes can happen. I could slip up and show you something I don't want to show you, that you might not want to see. And I'll give you an inside look in real time of what I'm doing at the moment. I've got 4 YouTube videos happening at the same time that I'll show you. So I'm doing 2 things at once. I'm building the shipping container home. And what that looks like right now, it's beautiful, sunny today, but it's not sun for 2 or 3 weeks in a row yet. So all I'm doing is I'm socking away wood and materials for the roof, because I really want to tighten up the roof, insulate it, get it waterproof when we have 3 weeks of sun. So I'm milling wood. I'm cutting the forest down right here to let sun in, milling wood right there in the sawmill. And while I'm doing that, I'm trying to finish up our gardening life so we can be growing stuff while we're building the house, because I think around June 20th, I'll be doing the house only full time. So I'm doing the whole front yard raised beds. So you can see them right there. I'm building them out of the shipping container metal. And then the greenhouse, let me take you inside and show you what I just did. I just built a potting bench from scratch. Do you guys want to see it? If you want to see a potting bench, if you want to see a sneak peek, I filmed the whole build, but if you want to see it, you can comment right now. What emoji should you comment? Comment a bunch of foxes, because my son's name is Fox. Yeah, I love Scottsdale. I miss Arizona a lot. I know how to garden in the desert. I could tell you the secret. You want to know? I'll tell you how to garden in the desert, but let's go inside here. I'll flip it around. Ready? And then I want to talk to you guys about money. I want to tell you the money of what it takes so far for us to do this. We'll talk about some money and financing. I want to tell you guys some details. Lots of foxes. Here we go. Sorry, I look horrible. This is how I look most of the time. Actually, I was half naked and I put this shirt on just for you guys. So here we go. Let's go inside. This is the greenhouse. It's 40 feet by 20 feet. And whoa, the door's opening for us. Rainwater hits it, and I haven't made the system professionally yet, so it's just catching rainwater in here. And this is full of water. And then I have that red line in there, and it goes to that pump on the wall. And then I flick the switch on that car battery, and then we get water pressure and we can water in there. And then I charge the battery with the solar panels that are over there on that compost guy. You get lots of scars on your hands doing this kind of stuff like that. All right, here we go. So now I got the beds done in the greenhouse, and I milled these myself to be like railroad ties, and now it's all planted, and I put the trellis inside. So I was hoarding away this bamboo trellis. Your son's name is Fox as well, with 2 X's. That's cool. Here, let's lock it. And bamboo trellising now, because all the beans are on the wall, and cucumbers. All the beans on this wall. In the middle, we're gonna have butterfly pea, and lots of tomatoes, Brussels sprouts, sweet peppers, and some perennials. Like we're doing bay leaf in here, doing goji berries, and I think we're gonna try to do bananas. You want me chopping wood? I got lots of wood to chop. So let's come on over, I'll show you the potting bench. It's right there. What do you guys think? Anybody out there want a potting bench like this in your garden? I don't think it's necessary to greenhouse in Arizona. The only reason a greenhouse is good in Arizona is to, you know, put all of your tomatoes and peppers and eggplant and stuff that you can put it in January or February in your greenhouse. But then most of the summer and fall, you'll have your greenhouse open, right? I always tend to look at the comments that have a picture in the profile. So I see Mystic Way, I see Megan. Put a picture in your profile because it makes your comments stick out better. So I'm gonna do more. I'm gonna put bench down below to hold pots, and I've got some shelving here for plants. We took one of these old baskets, I just turned it into like a shelf here. And inside here we got all of like our pruners and rooting hormone, diatomaceous earth and chelated iron, and tools. Inside here right now it's 80 degrees, so it's like the tropics in here. And then I made a little lower kid station so that the kids can do some soil and potting here, and they can stand on a little step and have a kid area. So there you go. There's the secret of what I've been building in the last couple of days, and now I gotta move on and go to finishing the raised beds in the front of the container house. She's being a good mom, putting the kids to sleep. There you go. The greenhouse, what I didn't realize is that right now it's kind of a godsend because the kids can come in here and they have wind protection and cold protection because it still gets down to, you know, 5 to 10 degrees Celsius at night. And when you go outside, the wind hits you, it's pretty cold. Not right now in the sun, but the kids have been coming in here as a sanctuary. And then what I did was, remember back in the day, do you guys remember we built that red yurt, the smaller one, in some videos? We got like 30 million views on those videos. We tore that down years ago, but we saved the lattice wall, and I'm using the lattice wall as like a kid's playpen. So we got the playpen lattice wall in the container house. You can see it in there. And that way we'll be able to build there while the girls, the twins, are, you know, safe and with us. I want to talk to you guys about money for a second. I talked about this on TikTok. I was trying to see if we can go viral on TikTok, and I'm not doing it. I hate it. I was trying to do what's good for business, and man, TikTok is like, you know, if life is like eating homegrown veggies and fruits, TikTok is like doing methamphetamine, and it really makes you stupid and makes you dumb. Like, I think TikTok is the most pointless, dumb thing I've ever seen in my entire life, and it's just, I fear for the kids who are growing up consuming that because they'll think it was always there, and they'll think that you have to like turn it on. And what you should do is not be on camera and go learn some things in life, like learn how to do real ancient human activities. And then when you get to be about 35, 40 years old and you've got 20 years in something and you're good at something, then make some videos if you want to teach or show off. But to be just making videos 8 a day is just turning everybody into that movie Idiocracy. So money, I wanted you guys to do some basic math with me, okay? I think I had this epiphany the other day while I was working, and I think a lot of the problems we have in life right now is because people are scholastically not able to do basic math. And the reason why I think this is because when I go to a farmer's market, yeah, agreed, Johnny and Megan. When I go to the farmer's market, whether it's in the tropics or here in the temperate rainforest, whether it's in Asia, America, Canada, if you go to the farmer's market and you deal with the farmers, typically the farmers will have like helpers running the table selling their fruits and veggies. And usually it's cash only. So if you give cash to a young person who's working the table, if you're gonna buy $25 of stuff and you give them 100, I think I would say 99% of people under the age of 25 pull out their iPhone calculator to do the math on how much change you should get back. Which we all know, if you bought something for 25 bucks and you gave them 100, it's instant. You should get 75 bucks back. It becomes a little more difficult if like you buy something for $37 and give them a 50, and you should instantly get $13 back. But they don't know that. They have to pull out the calculator. And then I go around the tables where the farmer is working the table and they're over the age of 50. And they all can do the math. And typically how they do it is if you buy $37 of stuff and you give them a 50, then they'll count the money back to you. You know what I'm saying? Where they'll say 38, 39, 40, and 10 is 50. So you get 13 back. That's how people over the age of 50 will do basic math in their head. And I think a lot of young people under the age of 30 don't know how to do basic math. And what it does is, I'm not even talking about I'm talking about multiplication. Multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, basic math. Not even going on to geometry or anything like that. When you can't do basic math, if you can't do 120 minus 66, if you can't do 25 divided by 5, if you can't do basic math in your head very quickly, you're extremely vulnerable in life to be taken advantage of. And when I see young people go, where am I ever going to use this? Well, you're going to use it to defend yourself. When the people that I've met that can do binary, that can code, that can fix engines, that can weld, that can build a structure, people that can do music, people that can write and read music, or that speak multiple languages, people that can play multiple instruments, they're very safe. Does that make sense? They're very safe. They're very strong. They're strong spiritually, mentally, and usually physically. And typically people that have those real skills I just mentioned, they're able to defend themselves against the masses of humans that might try to take advantage of you. This is my opinion. So let's talk about money. So being off grid. One of the ways that I want to be off grid is with electricity. I think electricity is important. I think lights are great. I think the toilet we have is electric. It's a super advanced incineration toilet that uses crazy modern technology. I like having the ability to have, entertainment with video. I think video is incredible. I think that the internet can be used to educate you if it's done healthily and if it's done not early in life. Like, you should be doing that stuff when you're older. So I like electricity. I think electricity is very powerful, and also it's powerful for things like electric bikes and my phone. I think my phone gives me a lot of safety, having the ability to call if I need help or something like that, or set up the future. Okay, electricity. So if you rent a place, or if you are in the city and you're on the grid, you're kidding yourself if you are paying less than $500 a month in electricity. And I think that every city has different prices for electricity, but I'm telling you, at the tropical location, we've had to do it's taken us longer to build our house there, so we've rented. And every time I rent a place, no matter how big it is, it's easily over $500 a month to do laundry, run the house's lights, if you have an electric car, to charge that car, and things like that. So let's say that your electricity bill, run your computer, your internet, and your consumption of electricity will get more and more as the future comes, I think. Look at what's happening right now with AI and data centers. The electricity in the world has to get a lot greater to satisfy the world that they're building around us, okay? Now, let's say a normal house is paying $400 a month in electricity. 400 times 12 is $4,800. So I know, because of basic math, that if I'm paying $400 a month in electricity, that about $5,000 a year is going toward my electricity bill. And I think that's pretty normal. I think if I went to most people, they're paying about that for electricity, especially if they have a couple or a young family. I think some people have a lot more, some a lot less. I can remember being a young kid, and when we moved to Arizona, we got a pool, and that was a huge thing. And in the wintertime in Arizona, we heated the pool, and the pool alone made the electricity bill go up to $700 a month. So I know people out there are paying less than that, and some a lot more, okay? Let's just use the figure of $400. $5,000 a year in electricity, all right? If you go forward in time 4 years, what's 4 times 5,000? 20,000. That means in 4 years from now, when I'm 47 and you're whatever you are, life won't be that much different. I'm still gonna be live in. I'm still gonna be, got my family. 4 years ago, seems like yesterday. 4 years goes by very quickly. But in that 4 years, you're probably gonna pay $20,000 in electricity. $20,000. Maybe more, maybe less, something around there. And I really have connected in my life with solar and battery and wind. What's the person's name who's a bot? You guys are distracting me. Who's a bot? Put her name down there. I'll put her in timeout. I know, Jen Neo, I'm gonna add it up. So 4 years, $20,000. Think about it, in 10 years, if you're paying $5,000 a year in electricity, in 10 years, $50,000 is electricity, $50,000. Okay, if you have a normal size house and you put solar panels on the roof, you're probably gonna pay around a few $1,000s. Let's say you can get the solar panels for $400 a piece and you get 10 of them. You got $4,000 in solar panels. And then let's say you get a battery bank that runs you about $6,000. And then let's say you get an inverter for $2,000. Okay, your inverter and batteries is $8,000. Your solar panels is $4,000. $12,000, and you got a 20 or 30 year solar system, but you got to pay somebody to install it. So you add on $10,000 to install it. So let's say for $22,000, you got a solar system installed. Well, guess what? We just did the math, and that $22,000 is 4 years of paying the electrical company. So when you and I are both alive right now, living in life, and you've got the electric company every month, and I somehow found 20 grand to buy an off-grid electricity system, in 4 years from now, my payments stop. Because I have faith that my solar battery system will have a 20+ year shelf life. And so I'm gonna enjoy a good 16+ years of no payments, but full electricity. And so I've done this in different ways. So the first way I've done this is with lead acid batteries. Okay, car batteries. You can get car batteries of different sizes, and you can get a small solar panel if you want to play with solar. I especially recommend this if you have a kid. Teach your kid how to do it, or do it with your kid. Go get a couple of these 100-watt solar panels. I got 2 of them hooked together. And then what happens is that on a day like today, it's full sun. And so all the electricity comes through a positive negative wire and goes into this translator. It's called a controller. And the controller takes the energy and it makes it usable by the battery. And it's flashing these 2 right now because my battery is in float. It's full. It's telling me that I'm all filled up, which is good. Then once it comes into this translator called a controller, it comes out. And the positive negative goes right into this battery right here. So I have all my batteries that I'm gonna be putting on the sailboat and I'm gonna be putting into the laundry room are all full and ready to go. And I'm gonna be installing those in the container house and on the sailboat. That's why they're here. They just got filled up. I understand this system very well, and it's a very cheap way. You can spend about $800, $900 and play with solar and educate yourself and your children about what it takes to be off the grid, electricity-wise. So then if you have some money, you can go bigger, okay? If you got some money, there's companies out there like Bluetti and Jackery and other companies like that, but I use Bluetti, that have all-in-one systems built in. So you see on this shipping container, this is a 20-footer. Up top there, I've got 2 410-watt solar panels together, so 820 watts coming in. And they are very effective. I open up the door, and this is gonna be, we're gonna turn this container into the laundry room and the battery bank room. Right now, it's just a storage closet, okay? So if you open this up, I got these batteries here right now. This is Bluetti, and this right here is the inverter and controller. So this is not a battery. This just gives me plugs so I can plug in. I can plug in a 220 thing, like a dryer. I can plug in regular stuff, like a 110, like a blender, or like my electric saw, all my batteries, or like this freezer. So we have all of our fish and prawn and crab and fruit in this freezer, and we have an abundance of energy. So like right now, You can't see it's sunny, but it says 100% in there. And I'm charging up my tool batteries. These are the batteries down below. This is called the Bluetti B300S. And this is another one. And each of these is 3,000 watt hours. So it's 3 kilowatt hours, and they're hooked together. They got these cords over here hooking them together. So these batteries are together. The sun goes in the solar panels. It gets translated by this, and then it fills these up. Mystic Way, how long will the batteries last? I don't know how to answer that question because there's a million different answers. You know, it depends on how many maybe I might put 3 freezers on there. Maybe I added a bunch of food and the freezer is working harder. Maybe it's 3 days of clouds. So if it depends on how much you got plugged into it, obviously, and it depends on if you got sunny days or not. Okay, so that's a secondary system from Bluetti. That system is more expensive. You might pay, I don't know, a few $1,000s for those batteries and inverters. But again, my goal is, I feel like because of basic math, I can't bring myself to pay a recurring monthly payment to stuff. It's bad enough I got to pay property taxes to these places, you know? To me, that's just like, is anybody old enough to remember when people didn't have property taxes? What year was it when property taxes became just common? To me, that's a recurring payment, but I got to pay it, okay? But the electricity, I don't have to pay. I can get out of that system, and I'm going to pay a little bit of money now to opt out later. And as long as you install them correctly and protect them, they'll last for decades, okay? So then I got another system, which this system over here is a third system. I'm gonna put it on top of the container house. It's just right here for now. And this system is 8 solar panels together. Let me flip it around, I'll show you. Okay, so 8 solar panels there on a rudimentary frame, which is all gonna come down in the next 2 months. But these 8 panels are hooked together in series. So the 4 on top are hooked together as one, and the 4 on the bottom are hooked together as one. And so the electricity thinks it's one super panel on the top and one on the bottom. Then they're hooked together and they come into the carport here. And then they go into this inverter from Orient Power, or this controller rather. And then it goes into these 2 batteries, which are full right now. And then what you got is, now you've got a bunch of electricity in batteries, and you can then send the electricity from the batteries into a regular circuit breaker panel box like you have on your house. So everybody out there knows how to flip a breaker switch. Maybe you're better, you know how to install a panel. Maybe even better, maybe you're a licensed electrician. Nicole's dad is a very professional licensed electrician who's taught me a lot. And he's done some work for us too as a licensed guy. And he is scared of solar. He tells me I don't know solar. And I say, okay, let me take care of the solar. I'll get the energy to here. And then you pretend that there's no solar and no batteries and just hook up the panel box. And now I can do that myself. So there you go. That's a secret about money is during COVID, I was investing in all these systems. And sometimes I thought I was stupid because I thought I was paying too much for these systems, but I was paying for something I believed in. I was getting it to work and I was learning in the process. And now I've got a really good system at the tropical place, and I got a good system here too. So I'm looking forward to showing you guys on YouTube when I have the container house all tightened up, because we're gonna have a battery room up top and a battery room over here, and everything's gonna be disconnects and surge protection from lightning storms. And I really want to show you guys everything in the next 3 months is gonna be all tightened up into there. So I feel like a yurt has been a really good use of money, because I found that, well, things are inflating so fast. I found that a yurt can cost anywhere from $6,000 to $30,000. There's a wide range of prices for a yurt. depending on if you buy a 12-foot diameter yurt or a 30-foot diameter yurt, depending on if your yurt has a wind-proof kit or if it has real windows or not. And I really believe in the yurt. I think the yurt's a great place to live. It's just that we now are a family of 5. And even though the yurt is about 800 square feet and it's big and it feels spacious, it needs some bedrooms and some doors. We need some privacy and some compartmentalization. The yurt has served the family well and it will continue to, but we just don't have the ability to live here and keep the yurt going. So I'm gonna take all the materials that are over at the yurt that are reusable. I'm gonna bring all the wood and all the other materials over here, use them here, and then take the yurt down, I think, because I'm unable to go over there and live in it and light a fire in it in the wood stove and keep it livable. So it's better just to return it to nature and responsibly get away with the materials and live here. But a yurt is great. I think if you have the ability or have the desire to live off the grid and be close to nature, that's a great want to have. I think that it's very difficult to be born in a city and try to make it in that city. It's very challenging. Do you guys think so? I think most people that are under the age of 50, that are 50 and younger, never have had an experience when they have not lived in the city as a part of the system full on. Like I know China, but I've gone there many times, and China talks about there's been a big exodus of families leaving the countryside and going to the cities. And I think that was kind of like America back in the 1800s, early 1900s, I feel. And now nobody remembers a time when they used to live in the countryside with their families at a homestead that was passed down, being self-reliant and self-sufficient. And I just feel that today we kind of have the best of both worlds, where we have really nice tools, we have modern day toys, we have a lot of knowledge, but we still can use things like the internet, and we can use those toys to keep us close to nature, living softer and next to nature without any of the bad stuff. And by the bad stuff, I mean, like, I appreciate government when it comes to enforcing my property rights. Like, I love that nobody can come take my property from me because my government that I pay taxes to backs me up. I appreciate that. I don't want to battle 50 Mongolian warriors that come up here and take my kids and my wife and kill me, you know, and take my property. I like the predictability of property ownership by paying my taxes. I also can appreciate neighbors, and I really appreciate neighbors face to face. I really appreciate when a neighbor has some knowledge to give or has some kindness to show. A neighbor who brings over some plants from the garden, or, you know, says, hey, there's a cougar making the rounds. You know, I appreciate these kind of neighbors that look out for each other. Or like I had the water pump go down, and a neighbor of mine was a good welder, and he welded it up for me, and I paid him a little bit, and it was a great neighborly thing to do. He welded my pump back to perfect condition. So yeah, that's a little bit of the money. I'd recommend, if you want to be off the grid and live in nature, go get a property and put up a yurt. That's worked really well for Nicolle and I. And it's a fun process at the same time. Does anybody have any questions really quick while I'm on for 5 more minutes here? Maybe if I keep panning around, you'll see the cougar walking up on me, or a bear. Let's see if anybody's out there. If you guys can do me a favor, and when this video ends, can you go in and leave an amazing question or comment in the regular comment section? I got to plant all these plants here this week. I've been up potting the nursery for a couple of years, and these have all survived, even though we've been at the tropical place. And everything from blueberries to monkey puzzle, which give off nuts, to aronia berry, to apple and ginkgo biloba. No, the cougar never came back after that night. Never saw it. It was big. It blew my mind. Yeah, these power poles you guys see, I've explained this many times. Like, it's a broken record, but they're not active. They just it was necessary to put them in when the person who converted these properties from logging to residential, if he wanted to sell them, he had to put wells on them, and he had to partner with the power company to put the power poles in. But we never wanted to activate them, and actually I need the power company to come and take them so they can use them somewhere else. Thanks for all the love, everybody. Nah, we don't see any smoke from wildfires here. We're in like the wettest part of Canada. We're not by all those fires you see. Yeah, Megan, that's my goal. I would love to have my lifestyle. I don't think I look it right now. I look pretty weathered right now, but if I take a shower and I try, I usually think I might look a little healthier and younger than the average person my age, and that's been my goal, yeah, for a long time. I've wanted to create my own blue zone, and I don't know, I feel like when I jump in the ocean for 4 hours and I'm diving, it's really good for longevity. I feel like right now I'm out in the sun, I'm getting a tan and my hair turning blonde and just drinking in a lot of sun. That's really good for my bones and my body. I've never smoked, so I feel like that's really good, and I catch my food from the ocean, I grow my food, and then I go and support farmers markets. And if I ever have to go to the store, it's because I might have some money to spend, and I always buy things where I can pronounce all the ingredients, and I try to do only organic, but I'm trying to get away from that. The store is a crutch, and I've always had it, so it's difficult to quit. Let me tell you what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go and get chickens, and I've got the spot for them right here. So if you see, this is the compost area that now I've reinforced. I spent the last week reinforcing it with no gaps, super strong, and bear proof and marten proof. Marten is a little fox. And then what I'm gonna do is back over here, we're gonna take the tractor and level out this spot and then put a run around it and bury the run. And then we're gonna take the bunkie cabin. You guys know the bunkie that we set up? Yeah, I watch that My Self-Reliance guy. I like his videos, and I would love to collaborate with him. He's doing an outdoor kitchen right now. I saw in his videos, and I like that. So I'm gonna bring chickens here, but I'm gonna take the bunkie, and the neighbor down the way that has the big excavator, we're gonna try to lift the bunkie up empty and carry it with the excavator and drop it right there next to the compost, and then have the bunkie be a chicken coop that's fortified against the marten and the cougar and the bear. The marten is so small, like a squirrel, but it'll come in and it'll decapitate all the chickens. So we're gonna show you guys this on the full videos, and we'll have about 20 hens here and a rooster here over there. So we'll have our own eggs, and then if we leave for an extended time, I'll probably just eat the chickens. What do you guys think about that? Just before we leave, we'll eat the chickens, like for the 2 months before. And that's it. All right, guys, love you. Thanks for hanging with me for 30 minutes here. I'm gonna get back to work because I gotta button up the greenhouse, and I gotta get to making more of these raised beds. I'm gonna make 4 more of these in the front, so we have 6 of them out here and then more. And I got a lot of potatoes to plant before it's too late. And I've got to take all this stuff in the front, and I got to wood chip it all to clean up. And then I got to take all this roofing that I've been saving here for a few years, and I got to get it over on top of the container house so that it's all sealed up, so then we can start framing out the kitchen and the bedrooms and milling our own floor and live in there. That'd be the big thing. Is I'm shooting for middle of August to get us living in there full time. Let's see if we can do it. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll be back.